The morning sun barely touched the cracked windshield of Lena Torres' faded Honda Civic as she pulled into the parking lot of Sterling Tactical Range, the city's most elite shooting club. Around her, chrome trucks gleamed under spotless paint jobs. Men in designer tactical gear strutted past, laughing, comparing scopes that cost more than her rent. Lena stepped out quietly, tugging her old jacket tight. Underneath, hospital scrubs peeked out, proof of the 12-hour shift she just finished. She wasn't there for glory. She was there for peace, to remember who she'd been before life turned into overtime and exhaustion. In her hand, an envelope of wrinkled 20s. 3 months of careful saving. Enough for one day at the range. She took a deep breath, looking at the marble doors, and whispered, "Maybe today I'll finally be seen." Inside, laughter echoed off marble floors. The lobby smelled of gun oil and expensive cologne. Behind the counter stood Colt Brenner, owner, former police captain, self-appointed war hero. His uniform looked sharp, but his eyes looked cruel. He eyed Lena up and down. "Ma'am," he said, drawing out the word like an insult, "this is a private facility. Members only." Lena held out her envelope. "I can pay the fee." Colt smirked. "Sweetheart, this isn't a charity range for nurses playing weekend soldier." The room chuckled. A few men turned to film on their phones. Someone whispered, "She thinks she can shoot?" Lena's cheeks burned, but her voice stayed calm. "Everyone deserves a chance to practice." Colt leaned closer. "A chance? You've already had yours. There's a public range downtown. Maybe try that." He flicked the envelope back toward her, bills scattering across the polished floor. No one moved to help her pick them up. She knelt silently, gathering her money as their laughter filled the air. Her eyes were steady, too steady for someone humiliated. Because behind them lived memories Colt Brenner couldn't imagine. Memories of dust, of fire, of a single shot that once saved 12 lives. That night, the laughter wouldn't leave her. It followed her home, into the tiny apartment filled with silence and secondhand furniture. Lena sat by the window, nursing cold coffee, staring at a photo frame. Her in uniform, desert wind whipping through her hair, a massive rifle at her side. 10 years ago, she was Sergeant Lena Torres, ghost shot. Her final mission still haunted her dreams. A convoy ambushed. Her unit pinned down. One truck bomb rolling toward them. One shot to stop it. One impossible distance. She'd taken it and hit, but the explosion that followed took her spotter's life. Since that day, she vowed never to fire again. The rifle stayed locked away. The world only saw the nurse. But sometimes, when the hospital halls went quiet, she'd still feel the weight of that trigger on her finger and the heartbeat before the shot. 2 days later, her phone wouldn't stop buzzing. A coworker rushed in, eyes wide. "Lena, you're trending." Someone had recorded her humiliation at the range. The video's title read, "Nurse Denied at Elite Gun Range." Within hours, it had millions of views. Comments flooded in outrage, empathy, and disbelief. But buried among them were a few from familiar names. Veterans. People who noticed details others missed. "That stance. That breathing. That's trained. Looks like military discipline. Wait, ghost shot? Could that be her?" Meanwhile, Colt Brenner went on local TV, brushing it off. "We're about standards," he said. "Not charity." The smug grin on his face poured gasoline on the fire. By nightfall, the internet wanted payback. And Lena Torres, the quiet nurse who never sought fame, had become the accidental symbol of every underdog ever disrespected. Under pressure, Colt announced a public event, the Sterling Challenge, my SWAT team versus any civilian who dares. Winner takes $100,000. It was supposed to prove his elite status. When Lena's co-workers showed her the announcement, she laughed it off. "I'm done with that world." But that night, a message arrived from a name she hadn't seen in years. "He's not mocking you, Lena. He's mocking all of us." Reyes, her old commanding officer. The one who'd called her a ghost shot. The next morning, Lena drove to the old public range outside town. The owner, a grizzled Vietnam vet named Tommy, recognized her immediately. He didn't ask questions, just nodded toward the targets. "You still shoot like you breathe, kid," he said softly. Every evening after her shift, she trained. No high-tech gear, no digital scopes, just focus, wind, and instinct. And every night she whispered the same thing before packing up. This isn't revenge. It's respect. When the registration deadline arrived, Lena signed her name quietly. Competitor number 47. The underdog had entered the lion's den. The event was huge, cameras, reporters, and a full crowd. The SWAT team posed for photos, gleaming in matching tactical suits. Colt strutted across the stage like a reality TV star. Then came Lena. No sponsor logos, no custom rifle. Just a plain windbreaker and a borrowed weapon. Snickers rippled through the crowd. Someone whispered, "Is that the nurse?" Round one began. Each shooter faced stationary targets. The SWAT team hit perfect scores, of course. When Lena's turn came, the crowd held its breath. 10 shots. 10 hits. Not flashy, just precise, controlled, surgical. Round two. Moving targets, shifting wind. The professionals started missing. Lena didn't. Her rhythm never broke. By the third round, silence filled the stands. Colt forced a smile. Beginner's luck, he muttered for the cameras. But inside, he could feel it, something he hadn't felt in years. Fear. Because the simple woman he'd mocked was moving like a ghost. And ghosts don't miss. The final challenge was cruel. 10 moving targets at unpredictable distances. Each competitor had 10 bullets. The SWAT team went first. 9 hits. Not bad. The crowd cheered. Then came Lena. She walked to the line, calm as still water. Loaded 1 bullet. Just one. The range fell silent. Cole frowned. What's she doing? Lena took aim, watching the wind flags twitch, the target swing. Then she whispered, for everyone they ever underestimated. She fired. 1 shot. The bullet pinged through the air, slicing the first target, then the second, ricocheting down the line in a cascade of perfect impacts. 10 targets. 10 hits. The crowd erupted. The cameras zoomed in. Colt's jaw hung open. The announcer stammered, all targets a hit. With a single round, history had just been rewritten by a nurse with borrowed gear and unshakable hands. The next morning, every headline told her story. Nurse outswipes SWAT team. Ghost shot returns. When reporters asked her what she'd do with the $100,000, she just smiled. I'll donate it to the children's wing at St. Mary's Hospital. The crowd cheered again. Within weeks, Sterling Tactical Range changed ownership. The new sign outside read, Liberty Range, open to all. Colt Brenner disappeared from headlines. Lena went back to her shifts, back to caring for patients. But every weekend, she taught a free shooting class for nurses, veterans, and anyone told they weren't good enough. Her final line in the video interview went viral. Excellence doesn't wear designer gear. It wears humility, patience, and heart. And sometimes it drives a 10-year-old Honda. Because in the end, real power isn't loud. It's focused. It's kind. And it never misses.